Konnichiwa. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here back in Japan, and thanks so much to the invitation to speak to you today. It seems like only yesterday when I was here attending and speaking at Quantum Innovation 2024. It was wonderful to meet many of you during that conference as well as the other events. And at that time, I had the privilege to be accompanied by several Canadian quantum companies, as well as Quantum Industry Canada. Lisa Lambert, the CEO of Quantum Industry Canada, couldn't join me today in person for this trip, but I know that she sends her best wishes and will attend virtually a little later on in the program. We were also very pleased to welcome a delegation of international quantum companies, including a large group from Japan, to the Quantum Now conference that was held in Montreal in June. That also seems like yesterday, but it was many months ago now. As well, several leaders from the OECD and the International I have to read all these out. The International Council of Quantum Industry Associations, including QIC, QEDC, the European Industry Consortium QuIC, as well as QSTAR, all attended, many of whom I see here in the audience today, and some of whom will be speaking a little later on. And I'm sure that all of these events have done a lot to help strengthen the bonds between our countries, our researchers, and companies. 2025, of course, is the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology, and there have been many events around the world, and I've had the pleasure of attending many of them and getting better to know colleagues from different countries, many of whom I'm so pleased to see here today, as well as at the QDG and MDQ events that'll be held shortly. It's been a busy year, and so I'd like to highlight just a few of the international actions that have happened in the past 6 months, in particular the G7, NATO, and defense, as well as a few Canadian highlights touching on the themes of today, which are global collaboration, as well as commercialization and use cases. Canada is the G7 president this year, and we were able to launch the Kananaskis Common Vision for the Future of Quantum Technologies in mid-June. Mid-June was a busy month in Canada. I'd like to acknowledge, though, that it builds on the previous work by the MDQ, and in particular, the leadership of colleagues in Denmark and in the Netherlands. If you haven't yet had a moment to take a look at the declaration, I would encourage you to take a moment to do so. It sets out that international collaboration between governments, researchers, and industry is required to mobilize investments, optimize resources, advance research and commercialization, secure supply chains, facilitate access to infrastructure, talent, and markets, align adoption with shared interests and values, and create a trusted ecosystem to manage risks and to unleash innovation. I won't go through the entire declaration, but some of the highlights that are relevant to this audience and touch on the themes of this workshop include the promotion of public and private investment in quantum R&D, responsible innovation and commercialization, supporting partnerships between researchers, industry, and other stakeholders to accelerate commercialization, to promote the development and adoption, highlight the word adoption, of the beneficial application of quantum technologies, support initiatives, exchange best practices, and promote workplace development for all, and to equip individuals with the skills needed for new jobs in the quantum sector. Support an open and fair market environment and trusted ecosystem amongst like-minded partners through measures such as international exchanges, preventing the leakage of sensitive technologies, protecting intellectual property rights, and promoting greater interoperability. And lastly, we want to increase the understanding of risks associated with quantum technologies, secure supply chains, ensure security and integrity research, and promote the timely adoption of quantum resilient security measures for protecting data and communications networks. Last but not least, the declaration also sets up a new G7 joint working group. It'll have experts from industry, academia, and government from each G7 country to inform cooperation on research, development, and commercialization, advance policy dialogues on approaches to innovation and adoption, and to assess the potential societal impacts as these technologies progress towards application. So the group will meet in early October to begin its work. As well, we have set up for the first time the opportunity to launch voluntary joint calls for projects between G7 countries. More information on this will be coming later in the fall. I think it's fair to also to say that the world's geopolitical situation has changed quite a lot in the past 6 months. Defense and security-related issues have become much more front and center in many countries, including Canada. And it's timely that another international organization, NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, has also been very active in promoting quantum technologies. We have the Transatlantic Quantum Community, or the TQC, which meets regularly to promote the use of quantum technologies within the alliance. NATO also recently released a quantum strategy, and I think that may be worth a look as well if you haven't had an opportunity to do so. Turning for a moment to a domestic focus, Canada is committed to increase its NATO spending, and one avenue to do so is through the forthcoming Defence Industrial Strategy, which has prioritized dual-use technologies such as quantum and artificial intelligence. So more on that to come a little later this fall. Last, I'd also mention that in June 2025, the Government of Canada announced its roadmap for the migration to post-quantum cryptography. It tasks federal departments and agencies to develop a migration plan, report on progress, and by the end of 2031 to complete the migration of high-priority systems, and by the end of 2035 to complete all migrations. So this puts Canada on roughly a similar timeline to other G7 countries. Overall, it's been a very active International Year of Quantum Technologies with advances in commercialization, research, and partnerships, and it's a pleasure for me to be here with you today, and I look forward to our continued discussions. Thank you very much.
ローゼンブラット博士、ありがとうございました。